we are now in game with our second one here between Slam and Miguel. Up to the north of the map in the green, we have Miguel playing as the Vietnamese, and down to the southeast in the blue, we have Slam playing as the Vietnamese as well. In fact, this is exactly the same map and the same civ combination that we saw Fire versus Leary earlier today, which was co-cast by Milmano. This time, though, we've got Killer B, so go ahead and say hello.
Hey, thanks for having me, Zach. Yeah, I'm looking at the maps here. Vietnamese mirror match, as you said. This is game 2, and I think you just mentioned that this is an elimination game for Miguel. So those of you guys out there who love AOC, you got to cheer for Miguel to win this one so we can see a third match. Looks like Miguel will be in the top right of the map, I guess the top of the map in the green. Main gold close to him, very wallable map for him. Berries are in a nice position. This map is usually focused on water in the early game, but as far as land goes, very defensible position for Miguel. Slam will be playing in the blue trunks. He's also playing as Vietnamese. His map is a little bit less easy to defend on land, but it's all good in the hood. He's got some backstone to work with. He's got gold near his TC. Nothing is really within reach of the water. So we should see a nice, interesting game, and it's all going to come down, at least initially, to who gets out there first on the water with those early fire galleys, I suppose.
Yeah, absolutely. And, in that last game we saw on Nomad, the Vikings, interestingly enough, don't get the fire ship. And I feel like, the Vikings have gone from, in AOC, being the undisputed kings of the water, to maybe not even actually being a tier 1 water civ anymore in AoE HD. Because in 1v1 water, the fire galleys rule, especially in the early game, and we've seen so far today just how amazing those fire galleys can be. Maybe the Vikings are still tier 1, but the lack of fire galley really hurts them. And in this game, I would hope to see that we get both players going straight up with the fire galleys, because whoever gets the fire galleys out first generally takes the advantage in the early game. But of course, then, if we're talking about water metagame, players will generally transition away into galleys anyway, because once you get fletching and once you get enough galleys massed up, the fire galleys no longer become a problem. So, it's all about efficiency, all about the early game here, and making sure that both players have a good start and get themselves to the feudal age quickly and get themselves an engagement on the water that is most favorable for them.
Yeah, what's intriguing me right off the bat in this one is that Miguel found all of his resources near his TC, and then he decided to go scout. But the interesting thing is he went the long way around the map. Vietnamese, you can see where your opponent is. So in a tournament game, often you try to get toward your opponent's TC. Maybe you can lame a Vil before your opponent gets loom. But Miguel here will take the long way around the map. I'm not sure why, but that's what he's going to do, at least for now. Both players starting to add in docks. Slam is still hanging out kind of defensively with his scout to make sure that his villager doesn't get lamed, who might be building the dock or taking the boar.
Yeah, it's absolutely catastrophic if you lose a villager that's building the dock. Not only does your dock get delayed, but you're a villager down, and that's exactly why Slam keeping his scout close by here. And as you said quite rightly, the Vietnamese, they see where their opponent's TC is at the start, making it that much easier to send your scout to your opponent's dock and try and lame that villager. But Miguel, not going to make it there just yet, and Slam should be able to get his boar home safe and sound before that scout even makes an appearance. So Slam here, off to a good start. Now, the only downside for Slam is that he doesn't have scouting info himself, but who needs scouting info? Come on. Slam, we saw what happened last game. He didn't need to scout. He's got the map packs, clearly.
Yeah, the last game, definitely scouting wasn't that important. And actually, while you were saying that, I'm thinking maybe Miguel here is tipping his cap a little bit to us, to what his strategy might be. I wonder if he's going to do something sneaky on this far side of the map, because I can't think of any other reason to have scouted that first. So maybe he's got some sort of land aggression on his mind for the later game. But for now, Slam Scout is starting to go forward to see if he can figure out where his opponent's resources are. Maybe lame a Vil or annoy some resources if he can. But yeah, we continue to work our way through the Dark Age. Players are Oh man, I'd love to tell you how many villagers they have, but I don't have that sweet overlay.
Well, they're both on 23 pop, I believe, so it's pretty much neck and neck right now. They both have 2 fishing ships out. They both have the same number of villagers. They both have a single scout. So at the moment, it is very, very close. I think the only reason I could think why Miguel might have gone the long way around is because there is often a lot of extra sheep on this map. And in the last time we saw this map, the Leary versus Fire game, we did see how Leary managed to find a lot of the additional sheep. And when he hit the feudal age, he had like 7 sheep under his TC, whereas Fire had 2. So finding the extra sheep, picking them up, sending them home, it means you can delay your farm a little longer. It means you can delay your mill a little longer. And that saved wood can actually help you a little bit on the water as well. Maybe getting a 4th dock a little sooner. Maybe preventing you from having any idle time at your dock, for example. So, yeah, it's kind of worth scouting around and seeing if you can pick the sheep. But neither player finding any of the bonus resources this game, it seems, as all those sheep are still unclaimed. It seems like...
Yeah, it's a really...
Go ahead.
Go ahead. I was just going to say that it's a good point. I think that's actually a really good idea to try to get those extra sheep. And if we look at Miguel's scouting, he hasn't actually scouted around Slam's TC at all. So it's not as though he's trying to locate the wood lines to do some ground aggression. He's not trying to find the gold piles. He's just walking on the edges of the pond. So I don't think he's going to go for anything too sneaky here early on.
Yeah, I don't think so either. And obviously, in these expansions, you can make a Dark Age transport ship. It's seen so rarely. It's usually not worth it. The investment in wood is very high, and a lot of the time it's easy to counter. But in this game, it's all going to be about that feudal age, and interestingly here, we see a different strat between the 2 players as they hit the feudal age at almost identical times, but Miguel only has 3 fish, while Slam has got 4, which means that Miguel should be able to get his 3rd dock up a little bit faster than Slam, and potentially take a small advantage on the water in the early game here, as the fire galleys are queued out, and Slam queuing fire galleys... Oh, actually, a fire galley and a demolition raft. I don't know how I feel about that, because that relies on Slam now to hit a good demolition raft shot. Otherwise, he will be outnumbered on the water.
Yeah, it's a really interesting early call. Maybe he's going to go Titanic those fish. I guess we'll find out in just a moment. That demo raft coming out and immediately heading forward, and we'll wait for it to slowly work its way across the map. But yeah, that's a strange decision, because usually you want to stand toe-to-toe with your opponent in production at this point in the match.
Okay, so the demolition ship comes through. He does hit 1 of the fire galleys, but now he's 2-on-1 on the water here. So Slam doesn't have quite as much HP on his ship. And the thing here as well is that Miguel could go back and just repair his ship with a villager here. So that demolition raft might have just been wasted. And we've got Slam even making another demolition raft right now as well. And you can see here clearly, Miguel has the 3rd dock already. He's not building a mill because he's got extra sheep under the TC. Compared to Slam, who's about out of sheep, he's already building a mill. And this is delaying his 3rd dock significantly in this match.
Yeah, Slam here is starting to wall himself in with houses, and I don't know what the plan is. Like you said, another demolition raft out. Don't know if that's going to help him get back into the water battle, and he is a dock behind. So I wonder if, once again, like in the last game, Slam might lose the water here early and go for land. But we'll see. Demolition raft looming closely. Let's see if we get a big demo shot here.
Well,
nope, does not.
Yeah, unfortunately not. Slam throwing away the water, I feel, with this these demolition rafts. I think it's unnecessary to open with demo rafts. Sure, once your opponent has 5 or 6 fire galleys, go for the demolition raft then. Absolutely worth it. If you can hit more than 2 ships, it's going to pay for itself. But when you're only killing 1 ship at a time or hitting 1 ship at a time, the damage isn't there to justify the cost. And now Slam is really outnumbered on the water, and he's going to have to come up with some kind of a plan B in this situation. He is coming back to the shore to repair his fire galley, but he's so outnumbered already that I don't see how this is going to really be working out for him in the next few minutes of this game. He's got his work cut out, that's for sure.
Yeah, Slam here was able to kill Miguel's scout on the land. He was kind of waiting for that scout, still being very defensive with his scouting, waiting in the channel to see if Miguel is going to come on land at him. But Miguel is all in for water. Interestingly, though, Miguel has transitioned into galleys, does not have any upgrades at the moment, and that might give Slam a chance to get back established, but still only 2 docks for the blue player.
Maybe. I mean, I feel like when you go galleys, you need to get the fletching upgrade really quickly in order to really be able to fight the fire galleys. But what Miguel did there with his demolition raft was pretty good. He did actually hit both of the fire ships from Slam, sinking one and heavily damaging the other. And right now, Miguel has about 8 additional warships on the water. Really, he's won the water at this point in time. So Slam has got to go to plan B, and that plan B is going to be the archery range coming up at the north of the map. The Vietnamese are a really strong archer civ. They do get extra health on their archer units and even their skirmishers as well, meaning that they can tank a little bit more arrow fire or any villager hits or whatever it is then it might be coming in at them. Big problem for Slam though is he's lost his fish now. Miguel can now start adding his own fishing ships in as well, just to really fish boom on the water here, and Miguel should suspect that something's up. Miguel should now assume that, okay, my opponent's probably going to attack me on the land. I should start preparing for this, and he is. Barracks coming up at home, an outpost on the right side near the gold, and he'll see this coming.
Yeah, it's a really good idea, that outpost. I mean, he certainly knows that he's won the water and that Slam's going to have to do something different. Never a third dock for Slam in this match, so he's saved a little resource there, but he has had to build farms. 4 farms down for Slam. Miguel, a minute ago, had none. Now he has 1 farm. But in the end, it's going to be a lot of resources spent for Slam to basically get food that Miguel is getting now almost for free. Double archery range is coming from Slam, but Miguel is going to palisade himself in on that weakest of flanks, at least for a moment. Slam can go around to the north, but the outpost will tip Miguel off to any sort of attack coming around the bend.
Yeah, I feel like, Slam with only 2 docks couldn't have expected to win the water anyway. So, you could question, was his goal to really, go all in on the water at all? And if the answer to that is no, then it seems just so strange that he would do that, because, we know how valuable the water is. We know just, how much of an advantage Miguel is going to get from having these fishing ships up. It's ridiculous. Slam, though, continuing to make a few fire galleys, he will try and push Miguel back a little bit, and he will succeed as well. Miguel has to be careful now not to, neglect water entirely and end up losing his fishing ships, but I think he'll be able to deal with this. He has got fletching, he's got a good number of galleys, and Slam just try to do what damage he can, but I don't think it's going to be enough to completely win the water back by any means, as he's really now focusing on this top side. The palisade's going to go down, and Miguel building a defensive watchtower here just to negate that damage.
Yeah, Miguel is ready for this with good preparation, a little walling and an outpost. He's also going to do a little bit more walling to make it so that Slam can't walk around this tower. Slam can still camp under the front of it, but I don't think that's going to be a great option for him. The archers are going to have to pull back and try to find another angle of approach. So pretty darn good defense here from Miguel. He's ready for the land aggression, and he's done a nice job to protect himself against it.
Yeah, what's nice for Miguel here is he could make a transport ship. Yeah, he's doing it. 50% on the transport ship. And he can load up some archers and just counterattack at Slam's eco. And since Slam built his military production buildings very far forward, it's going to be a while before Slam can defend his base here. He's got to send these archers back home. And by that time, well, the damage could already be done, as Miguel is about ready to load up the transport himself, feeling pretty comfortable behind his walls here. And, he should feel comfortable. It's going to be a while before Slam can make it through here.
Yeah, it's a great plan for Miguel to go across the water, and then back at home, those 2 ranges for Miguel will start pumping out skirmishers, which will nicely counter the archers of Slam. Miguel also doing some secondary walling to keep himself safe. And really, Slam doesn't have a good option. He's going to push through this wall. It's going to take quite some time with archers. But even when he does, he's going to have to walk through probably a half dozen or maybe 8 skirmishers, which would be a real problem. Archers into the eco of Slam now. Slam loses his entire wood line, loses a vill, maybe 2. And yeah, this is looking really, really bad right now for Slam.
Oh, yeah. All of those villagers just running to the town center for cover, and they don't even all fit in. So it's like 18 villagers there just idling now, as Miguel just absolutely throws a spanner into the economy of Slam. And Slam, yeah, he's like running back with his archers, but as I said, it's going to take a long while before they make it there. And the damage is already done at this point. Miguel's already disrupted Slam's eco so much, and even though he's not killed more than 1 villager, he's caused a lot of idle time, and don't underestimate, at a high level like this, just how much idle time will put one player behind another. So Miguel here in a great position. He's even going to push out with his skirms as well, knowing that Slam is probably headed back home to defend from the archers, and he's looking in a good position. I've got to say, though, Slam is on the way up to the Castle Age here, and he focused in on getting that Castle Age upgrade. That could be something that he could work with once he gets that crossbow upgrade and bodkin arrow as well. It could certainly do a lot of damage to Miguel's army here and probably counterattack, but maybe he'll try and get the water back as well. But at the moment, no sign of a dock.
Yeah, Slam tried to do something very wise. He tried to wall in the corner of the map to stop his opponent from getting to him. He also dropped 2 more docks in that top corner.
Oh, he did, yeah.
Unfortunately, though, the skirmishers here from Miguel are able to stop him. If you're Slam, you can deal with 6 archers in your eco. It's a big, big problem, but he's got enough archers home now to deal with it. He can't really deal with skirmishers quite so nicely, so he's trying to wall up a little bit more. Looks like in the end he will finish up his walls for now, but he did want to prevent those skirmishers from helping out the archers. The more damage Miguel does to his eco, of course, the less he's going to be able to build, but floating quite a bit of food and gold at the moment for Slam.
Well, unfortunately for Slam, there is always a hole, and there is a hole between the house and the wood line, and Miguel is going to make it in with those skirms. Thankfully for Slam, they are only just skirmishers, though, and they don't do the most damage to villagers at all. But yeah, I mean, Slam right now, under a lot of pressure, really feeling the heat. He has got that crossbow upgrade, he has got bodkin arrow, so he can start to push this back. But man, doesn't it just hurt when there's a hole right there, and you're going to pay the price with 3 villagers going down potentially right now. Yeah, as Slam sort of closes the gap with his crossbows, but the damage is already done.
Yeah, this is a really bad situation for Slam, who's lost, by my count, 5 or 6 villagers to the raiding and a ton of idle time. He's also kind of in shambles a little bit where his berries were. He's got idle vills. He's just microing so hard to keep himself afloat in this game. In the meantime, Miguel will take out Slam's new docks in the north, so Slam will lose those buildings as well. Slam will build a siege workshop, though, on the front and maybe try for another push.
Yeah, but this eco damage is just too huge right now. Slam idling about 10 villagers back here. They're slowly but surely getting whistled down by these skirms as well. And he doesn't have enough crossbow to fight this, so he's had to bring the villagers in almost as like glorified meat shields, just so that his crossbows can survive and do a little bit of damage. But Miguel is now castle. Slam's eco has really been hurting these last few minutes of game time. And okay, even if he cleans up these skirmishes now, like I said already, the damage is already done. And I'm really worried for Slam in this game. What is he going to do next? He's in no position to build a second or third TC. He's got to rely on doing damage on the front. He's got to hurt Miguel's eco. And that's exactly like you said, where the Mangonel comes in now. But still, the pressure is on for Slam to do the damage here.
Yeah, Miguel is going to do what Slam did last game. He's going to try to build up a couple more TCs at home. It was a 3 TC build, but now he's going to delete one and put up a siege workshop instead. We will also see a stable coming from Miguel quite soon, and he should be able to repel this. Slam is pretty much all in on this push. It has to work, and it has to work quickly for him to basically get himself back on his feet, losing so much gather time during that raiding from Miguel. Meanwhile, though, the green player's second TC is up, and Miguel here is he's sitting awfully pretty at the moment. He just has to repel one more push from Slam, and he's going to win the game.
Yeah, but I mean, he has to repel it. That's the thing. If he repels it, but I feel like Miguel will hold out in terms of eco as well. I mean, right now Miguel's about 15 villages or 15 population ahead. Sorry, right now stalling for time really here as he repairs his watchtower. The goal here is just to stall for time, make sure the watchtower stays up until he can get his own mangonels out. And now it's going to come down to okay, who has the better mangonel micro here? Is Slam just going to do the same as last game, where he just comes in with 3 mangonels and takes down all of Miguel's buildings? This time around, I think Miguel is a lot more prepared, and this tower is still standing, doing quite a bit of damage here to these crossbows and to these mangonels.
Yeah, Miguel is really wisely targeting down those crossbows. Slam had a villager repairing the mangonels. That villager has retreated to put up a stable. Miguel has a knight out, no upgrades at the moment, but he wants to get rid of a few more crossbows so he can run in and snipe those mangoes.
Oh yeah, doing a really good job right there. And well, I think Slam's just had enough. The GG coming in from Slam as he recognizes that he just can't break through this defense of Miguel. The tower is still standing. And as you said, those knights, although they've got no upgrades, with the crossbows going down, it doesn't matter. Those mangonels would have been toast. And Miguel, full water control. Slam unable to get a second TC. And yeah, I mean, that was clearly in the bag for Miguel right there.
Yeah, really nice recovery from Miguel. He got beat up in game number 1. He came back strong, recovered, and maybe now he's in Slam's head. We'll see how game number 3 goes.
Yeah, let's take a quick look at those achievements here as well before we do go into that third game. Miguel with a 45 to 29 KD, certainly looking pretty good with a much larger army as well, though he did, of course, control the water, and that's not so useful when it comes to defending on land. But ultimately, Miguel getting a really good game there and will be dominant in the second game. Now, I do question whether or not now that the third game is going to be Baltic, will Slam perhaps change his strategy up a little bit? We did see Slam not really focusing on the water as much as he could have done in that second game. And so now in the third game, the question becomes, well, is Slam going to really go hard on the water and not make the same mistake twice?
Yeah, I mean, he certainly got bit by only having 2 docks there, so he's got to learn his lesson. He's got to learn it quickly. And we got to see if he can maybe rescue his chances of moving on to the next stage in game number 3.
Yeah, right, everybody. Thank you so much for tuning in.